Here we go.
Broadcasting live from the True Crime Today studios to the world. This is Murder in the Morning with Tony Bruschi and Stacey Cole.
From the Hit Killers podcast, Murder in the Morning.
Well, just when you thought things couldn't get any more crazier, over in Massachusetts, over in Karen Reed country, over by the Canton PD. Well, they just did. And this is a case that's not about Karen Reed, but does involve some of the officers from the Canton Police Department, some of which were involved in the Canton, or rather involved in the Karen Reed case. And obviously there's a lot of questions of misconduct over there. This is a completely different case. A case that involves an officer, a pregnant child, and someone who thought, this Police Explorer program where the kids come in when they're like 15 to explore if they want to be officers. Yeah. One of the officers thought it'd be a great idea to go start having sex with the kid.
Oh, so it's kind of like a dating app that you can use.
And then ended up dead. Yeah.
Wow.
So this is going to blow up pretty big, and we're going to start covering it here. We're going to create a channel for it. So get ready to start hearing the name Sandra Birchmore a lot more. Pardon the pun. Former Massachusetts police officer has been indicted for the murder of a pregnant 23-year-old woman he allegedly began sexually exploiting when she was a teenager. Federal indictment, unsealed in Boston on Wednesday, accuses former Stoughton police officer Matthew Farwell of strangling Sandra Birchmore to death in February 21 and staging her death to look like a suicide.
Wow.
Where have we heard this before, or something like this, or staging a death? And again, I'm on the Karen Reed story. I'm firm on that. I don't believe he was beat up in the house and left for dead. But I do believe that the police did try to stage a lot of shit when they didn't need to cover their own ass of doing shitty police work. According to the indictment, Farwell, 38, killed Birchmore after she informed him she was pregnant with his child. He then allegedly strangled her in her apartment to make it appear as if she had committed suicide, or staged, rather, her apartment to make it appear as if she had committed suicide. I didn't mean to say strangled. That's not part of the staged her apartment to make it appear as if she had committed suicide. Farwell was indicted by a federal grand jury, federal charges on one count of killing a witness or victim. We allege that Sandra Birchmore survived years of grooming, statutory rape, and sexual violence, all at the hands of Matthew Farwell, who was employed throughout their relationship as an officer and then detective with the Stoughton Police Department. And when it became clear to Mr. Farwell that he could no longer control Miss Birchmore, he silenced her permanently. Acting U.S. Attorney Joshua Levy said during a press briefing on Wednesday. Farwell was arrested Wednesday morning at a shopping center and is scheduled to appear in federal court in Boston on Wednesday afternoon. ABC News has reached out to Farwell's attorney for comment. Prosecutors allege Farwell befriended Birchmore after she joined the Stoughton Police Department youth program. He was an instructor, and he essentially groomed her. The incident states the two began a sexual relationship when Farwell was 27 and Birchmore was 15. Farwell allegedly engaged in sex acts with Birchmore while on duty as a police officer and falsely represented that he had worked certain hours to conceal the activity, according to the Department of Justice. The affair continued up until her death on February 1st of 21, when Farwell was married with children. Prosecutors said Birchmore was found dead in her Canton apartment on February 4th of 21. Canton. So Canton PD does become involved in this, kids. Prosecutors allege that Birchmore told Farwell in October of 2020 that she wanted a child of her own, and the two, quote, reached an agreement. He would try to impregnate her, quote, in exchange for silence about his criminal conduct, child sexual abuse, and years-long extramarital affair, according to a motion in support of pretrial detention. While Birchmore informed Farwell in December of 20 that she was pregnant and wanted him to be more involved in planning the birth, he allegedly became angry and was losing control. The information she possessed about his illegal conduct was in danger of slipping out, Levy said. In fact, word started to get out about their relationship. Less than 2 weeks before Birchmore was found dead, a friend called the Stoughton Police Department and disclosed the sexual relationship between Birchmore and Farwell, according to the DOJ. Farwell allegedly became visibly angry upon learning that call and started to lose his patience. Birchmore had also disclosed to friends that he had become physically violent with her, Levy said. In one instance, Farwell allegedly had held a pregnant Birchmore in a headlock and told her that he wished she was dead, prosecutors said. It all came to a head on February 1st of 21, according to Levy. Prosecutors alleged that Farwell went to Birchmore's apartment that evening wearing a mask, despite being well known as a resident, or rather a restraint to COVID-19 mask mandates, and strangled her using a duffel bag strap. He then used his knowledge and experience as a law enforcement officer to stage her death as a suicide, Levy said. Farwell allegedly lied multiple times to Massachusetts State Police detectives investigating her death about the nature of their relationship. According to FBI Boston Special Agent in Charge Steve Keller, he told detectives their sexual relationship began in 2020, while text messages with Birchmore indicated it started in 2013. Prosecutors claimed he also allegedly stated they had sex in October 2020, the last time. Attempting to avoid suspicion about whether he was the father of Birchmore's unborn child. However, text messages indicate that Farwell met Birchmore for sex after that date. Before Birchmore's death, Farwell allegedly directed her to delete evidence of their sexual relationship. According to court documents, quote, he attempted to cover his tracks to literally get away with murder. And he almost did. Until today, Levy said. Initially, state officials ruled Birchmore's death a suicide, but Levy stated that over the past year, federal investigators uncovered critical new information that led to the indictment. Keller said investigators reviewed tens of thousands of text messages, emails, financial records, conducted dozens of interviews, and analyzed the crime scene as part of their investigation. The investigation, quote, uncovered evidence inconsistent with someone dying by suicide, including that Birchmore had contacted a photographer to book a newborn photo shoot and ask a friend about obtaining baby clothes shortly before her death. Keller explained Birchmore was also in the middle of doing laundry when she died, he added, calling the alleged murder depraved. Let's take a listen to that press conference.
Assistant Special Agent in charge of FBI Boston. At approximately 10:45 a.m. this morning, the FBI arrested former Stoughton police officer Matthew Farwell for allegedly taking the life of Sandra Birchmore in order to ensure her silence. The FBI SWAT team took him into custody at a shopping plaza in Revere without incident. Immediately following his arrest, we shared this significant development with Sandra's family. We know it does not ease their pain, but hopefully it answers some of their questions. Simply put, this case is about seeking justice for Sandra, who we believe was killed by Matthew Farwell after he allegedly groomed and sexually abused her when she was just 15 years old, violating her body and her civil rights. It's also about keeping Mr. Farwell from getting away with murder and from harming anyone else. We in law enforcement are entrusted with immense authority because our decisions can have life-changing consequences, both good and bad. To temper that power, we must adhere to the highest of ethical standards. What we believe Officer Matthew Farwell did, as outlined in today's indictment, is depraved and a gross betrayal of his sworn oath and the public's trust. Let me be clear. Matthew Farwell's gun and badge did not grant him authority to violate the Constitution, and it certainly didn't entitle him to sexually exploit, abuse, and rape a child before killing her and her unborn baby in an attempt to cover up his alleged crimes. What's also troubling is we believe Matthew Farwell staged Sandra's body and her apartment to make it look like she had died by suicide. And in the days that followed, this sworn police officer repeatedly lied to Massachusetts State Police investigators about the nature of their relationship. It's a stark contrast to the sheer excitement and pure joy that Sandra felt when she told Farwell that she was expecting his child, texting him a photo of a poster she had made celebrating the pregnancy. Our investigation also uncovered additional evidence that is inconsistent with someone choosing to die by suicide. In the hours leading up to Sandra's death, she reached out to a photographer to inquire about booking a newborn photo shoot. She also reached out to a friend about obtaining baby clothes. And at the time that she was in the middle of doing laundry when she died, with a load in the washing machine and another one in the dryer.
Yeah.
I'm actually in the middle of a load of laundry. If I were going to check out, that's the last fucking thing I'm going to do because it's a giant pain in the butt.
Laundry or
It
killing
ain't
yourself?
happening.
Laundry or killing yourself?
No, laundry.
Okay, it's a pain in the butt.
Believe me, it's not something I'm going to do if I'm on my way out.
Mhm.
It's just that's not how people operate. They don't plan ahead. They don't make future plans because the way they think is I'm about done.
Mhm.
So I don't need to do all this. I don't have to plan ahead. I don't have to prepare for things because there's nothing coming.
Yeah.
God, this whole thing is just, I know a lot of police officers. I know a lot of sheriff's deputies, and for the most part, they are the most lovely human beings you'd ever meet. And the Karen Reed case, and now this, it makes me scratch my head like,
Look, there's good and bad anywhere. When you give just a bunch of people high authority, where maybe they otherwise shouldn't have that level of high authority other than they got through police academy, you're going to have some that are going to really take advantage of that. And I think you also, just by nature, a position like that, just like you can statistically look at all different types of positions and where you're going to see narcissists and people of that sort of personality gravitate to. Police work is one of them. So is what we do. But so you're going to have good and you're going to have bad. Your odds of it being higher in those areas are there. That's just fact. That's just stats. If convicted, Farwell faces the minimum sentence of life in prison. At least that's the minimum sentence. The charge is also eligible for the death penalty. The Department of Justice has not yet decided whether to seek it. Farwell served as a police officer and then detective for the Stoughton Police Department from March 2012 to April of 2022. Stoughton Police Chief Donna McNair stated the department supported the FBI in its investigation leading to the indictment. The alleged murder of Sandra is a horrific injustice. McNarma said in a statement, the allegations against the suspect and former Stoughton police officer represent the single worst act of not just professional misconduct, but indeed human indecency that I have observed in a nearly 3-decade career with law enforcement. So let's take a little look at some more pieces of this case that are starting to come to light. The investigation has also revealed that Sandra Birchmore had been involved in a relationship with not only Matthew Farwell, I don't know the details of it yet, but allegedly with some other people, other police officers.
Okay, if that is true, this entire department, this entire part of the country, their police force needs an overhaul. Somebody from the Midwest needs to walk in there and go, all right, let's clean this shit up.
Yeah. There's a lot that is going on here. The investigation into Birchmore's death and other officers' conduct was criticized for being inadequate. Where have we seen that before in this area of the country? There's concerns that the involvement of law enforcement officers in the case may have led to a less rigorous investigation to protect those involved, especially if there were multiple officers having sex with an underage child.
God.
The focus is on officers from the Stoughton Police Department. However, there are connections to the broader law enforcement community, including potential links to the Canton Police Department. You know, Karen Reed country. Those connections have not been fully disclosed as of yet, but the close ties between different departments in the area raises concern about whether there was any collusion or coordinated effort to minimize the fallout from the scandal. You know, like the place where, you have officers texting each other going, no ass bitch.
Yeah.
And things like that.
Wow. Yeah. So, wouldn't it be something if I don't want to say it out loud, but if some of the names that we're familiar with from one case suddenly start popping up in another, and we don't know that right now, but I'm
not saying that they're going to pop up in terms of them having sex with the child, but I'm going to say this, they're going to start popping up. And not necessarily in that capacity, but as players in this story.
Anybody who's got tentacles near the story becomes a problem. It doesn't mean that they had inappropriate relations with an underage child, but it means you might have known about it and didn't do anything.
It means protecting the blue is absolute bullshit. If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to protect.
Yep.
So it's one thing if you're going to protect somebody from erroneous allegations and things of that nature. I get that.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry that this has been taken to such a bizarre context of protect at all costs and ignore all accusations and pretend that people cannot do horrible things if they're wearing a uniform. And if we ever do hear about it, we're just going to cover our ears and go, la, 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 la. I support police, la, 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 la. I protect the blue, la, 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 la. I'm going to put a big blue line on my Facebook page, la, 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 la. Okay, great. I have many family members who are police officers. I do, and I love them, and they're good people. But it doesn't mean every single officer is my cousin.
Right.
Just like every broadcaster is not me. It's just like you don't look at fucking dipshit Turtle Boy and go, every broadcaster is like him.
Yeah, 100%.
People are different. There are shitty people out there. And clearly, I mean, it's all innocent until proven guilty. That's how our system fucking works. But trust me, if the feds didn't have a fucking case here, this would not be a federal indictment. This would be a state indictment. This would be a county. This is federal shit here.
Yeah, they went big time with this, and they did their due diligence. They've got the goods. There's no way they would bring this forward in such a manner if they didn't have the evidence.
No. And I'm going to guess we're probably going to see more arrests in this.
Holy balls.
Yeah. So buckle up, Buttercup. There's going to be a lot more to this case. This is going to take some years, quite honestly. But we're going to see a lot coming out very soon about more misconduct in Massachusetts.
You're neck deep in a dark, twisted tale. And just as the tension peaks, bam, a commercial about some miracle diet pill breaks the spell. It's like finding a fly in your soup after the first bite. But here's the fix. True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts. You get to enjoy your crime stories without the junk. Ad-free episodes, extended interviews that go beyond the surface, and early access to all the gruesome details. It's like swapping out a can of cheap beer for a glass of fine whiskey. So search for True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe and keep the darkness flowing uninterrupted.